Hello everyone, I'm Amanda Doritas, Madison County Agriculture Natural Resources Extension Educator, and today I'll be talking about some research that Dr. Elizabeth Hawkins and I have been working on, looking at soil moisture and temperature under different management conditions. So our objective of this study was to determine how soil moisture responds under different field management situations for planting, and we'll look a little bit at temperature as well. But thanks to SARI North Central Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Program for funding this project through a partnership grant. Did get, if we're looking at just the cover crop, killed prior to planting, no-till, and till. Here's our soil moisture at 3 inches, and we can see that the cover crop did stay have more moisture in it throughout the winter into spring, and it retained that moisture through the growing season, which I think is what most of us expect from what we've learned, those of us who've grown cover crops or not. And you can see this is percent soil moisture. So over the 3 sites, the tilled soil did offer drier conditions, especially around planting, though not a huge difference between tilled and no-tilled. But then, of course, it was quite a bit drier by July and August. And then if we look at soil temperature, it stays pretty close throughout the winter into April. And then we see that separate out with the tilled ground warming up a decent amount above the tilled and no-tilled in the spring. And then staying a little bit warmer through the growing season compared with cover crop and no-till. I did pull out individual sites, just the Madison site here to share with you today briefly. This is a look at March through April, the 3-inch moisture. So we can see the cover crop definitely had more moisture to it. No-till there in the middle, but throughout April it was kind of going back and forth between tilled and no-till. And then if we look at the moisture in July through September, we can see that cover crop held on to that moisture really until mid-August, where it kind of merged with no-till, both of them staying a few percentage points above the tilled ground. So to give you a little bit of background on this project, we did paired field sites. So we had 3 different paired sites where we were looking for the same soil type and within a very small block, so we could contain that to the same soil type. We were looking for a conventional tilled field, a no-till field, and then a no-till with a cover crop. And we used these Meter Terros 11 sensors. So we had 2 of those sensors with each data logger. You can see the picture there of the sensor with the 3 prongs. We put those in at 3 inches and 6 inches. And then the data logger went up on a pole in the field to identify where those were at. So our 3 paired sites, you can see on the map there, Champaign County, Madison south of London, and then on the Madison-Fayette line. So at each location there was 8 sensors total, so 2 in the no-till, 2 in the tilled, and then 2 in 4 total in the cover crop field, 2 where the cover crop was going to be killed prior to planting, and 2 where it was killed after. You can see a picture here where we put them in at 3 and 6 inches into the soil there. This is a picture at our Champaign site where you can see the cover crop was killed here on the right side of the screen and not killed on the left side there. Of course, with any field research, we had challenges. 2 of the sites ended up killing all of the cover before planting, so we weren't able to make the comparison of the pre and post plant there. And we also had 2 sensors malfunction, so we lost the data from those. So we really weren't able to compare the killing before or after planting. We only ended up having 1 site, and within that site, one of those sensors malfunctioned. So the data that we got just really didn't make sense there. This is a 2-year project, so the sensors have been reinstalled already for this coming growing season. So hopefully we'll get a better look at that in the coming season. But if we look at the data, so as I mentioned, this is 1 year of research data, some complications and learning involved with that. Hopefully next year we'll be able to come back with more data to share with you and compare the 2 years with what we found. If you have questions, I'd love to take those here today, or you can reach out to either Elizabeth or I aside from today's question time. And again, thank you to SARI for their funding for this project.